Ooh, hey everybody. Yep. All right, so today I'm gonna have to use my table camera for both my face camera and my table shot because for some reason my little Logitech camera is not turning on and my little tech husband is off doing something else. So I'm gonna have to do a little fancy camera work here. So when I'm looking at the comments in the computer, it's gonna look like I'm not looking at the screen. So I apologize for that. Let me just say hi to Victoria. So Victoria cleaned one wall of her sewing room and 2 bags of trash, 3 walls left to go. Hey Mary. And Mary says I look good in color. Oh, I put this on just for you, Mary. I love this dress actually. It's a rayon jersey I got from Gorgeous Fabrics and I made my little Anna dress out of it. It's very comfortable and it's nice and cool. Hey Sandra M, welcome. Hey Jeannie. Hey Diane, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm working with one camera today, and happily it's my big camera. So if my big camera died and I had to work with just the little camera, that would be a little challenging for table shots. So my big camera is on a jib, so I can easily move it back and forth. So I'm gonna switch to the table shot in a minute, but I'm just gonna stop and say hi to Carol. Welcome, welcome. All right, I want to start this off because I know sometimes people will join and then have to leave early or, things happen. I want to tell you guys, I found some one-sided fusible elastic from the Sewing Chest website, but it's a UK business and they will not ship it to me. So I put the link to the Sewing Chest in the description below, and when I reached out to them to ask if they would ship to me and they said they couldn't, or they just don't, whatever. They said sometimes people from the UK will purchase things and ship them to the United States for a friend. So I feel like I'm phoning a friend here. If anybody lives in the UK and would care to order the fusible one-sided elastic with a plush side, I will be more than happy to reimburse you for all expenses if you purchase it and ship it to me. I put a link in the description below for that. So there's a link, plus I put my email. So if anyone from the UK is watching and they would like to help me out, I would be so excited to get my hands on that elastic. I spent a lot of time last week after I got off Fab Fit Friday looking for a one-sided fusible elastic, and that's the only one I could find. Now, it's probably true that there is a source in the United States. If anybody knows of that, if you comment and tell me about that, that would also be very helpful. Then I won't have to go through the bother of finding someone, or not the bother, but it'd be less complicated if I could just buy it myself in the UK. I mean, in the United States. So there's that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch my camera. Hey, Susie Berry, welcome, welcome. I'm going to switch my view down to my table so I can show you what I have going on here. I do have another fun announcement that I'm going to tell you first, though. If you remember, I reviewed Don McCunn's pattern drafting book, and I showed how to make calf room in the calves for leggings. Well, he actually reached out to me and he sent me a complimentary copy of his new book, Fashion and Costume Design in Quarter Scale, which I'm so excited about. And here's the fun thing. He has agreed to come on as a guest on a future Fab Fit Friday. So I'm going to be looking through the book, making a list of things we could talk about, sending it back to him and prepping for that. So in the next little bit, I don't know when, but I'm going to have him on as a guest for Fab Fit Friday. So if anybody has one of Don's books, or if you're a Don McCunn fan, you don't want to miss that. I will definitely keep you posted on when that's happening, but I'm very excited about that. I was very excited that he, first of all, that he took the time to comment on my channel about the review of his book, and then the fact that he offered me a complimentary copy and is willing to come on. I'm just so excited to meet him and to share a fun fitting chat with you guys. Now in this book, which I will review a separate time, one of the things that's very cool in here is he shows how to make a mini me, because that's been on my list for, you know, transforming my quarter scale dress form into a one that makes more sense shape-wise. So I am very excited about that. So that will be coming too. So that's exciting. Let me switch my camera angle here so I can show you what I've got cooking on my table. Okay, just got to get it. All right, let's see. So I'm sorry you can't see me while I'm also showing you stuff. Let me just make sure that we're good here. I just want to make sure it's nice and sharp. Using my thank you note as a guide. Okay. All right, so the first thing I want to show you guys is I did the wash dry test for the elastic, and I want to show you what happened with that first. So let me show you that. And actually, I've revved up my iron because we're going to try it again, and you'll see why. All right, so here is the elastic that I fused. And all I did, I literally just washed it and dried it like I would wash and dry anything. And you can see what happened is, I'm just going to make this a little brighter so you can really see what's happening here, maybe a little sharper. There we go. Some of it stayed fused, see? But then some of it came unfused. So I really don't want to have to sew it. So what I did was I went to Bra Builder's YouTube channel and I actually looked at what they recommended. So the one thing I didn't do that they did was they fused it from this side and then they flipped it over and they fused it on this side. So I'm going to see if this will refuse now that it's been washed. And I don't know if it will, but I wanted to wait and share this with you in real time. So let me see if I can get this to fuse back up. Oh, and it says use high heat. So I'm cranking myself that back up to cotton setting. And I'm just going to really fuse the bejesus out of it here. And I'm going to then trap the heat with my my clapper. Now this clapper is from Modern American Vintage, or Modern Vintage American. He makes beautiful wood tools and they're weighted. So even though this is a small clapper, it's really hefty and I love it. And I should have used it last time. So I'm going to flip it over and you can see it did fuse back into place here. So that's encouraging. But now I'm going to just flip it around and I'm going to just fuse the back side of it like the video recommended. Another thing that they used this fusible elastic for was to tack things that they were going to attach. So if you had a separate piece of lace that you were going to use as a waistband, they used the fusible elastic to attach, you know, just fuse the waistband on, and then they stitched it, which I thought was kind of cool. But if I can really get away with not stitching this, I'd be happier. But if I do have to stitch it, I'm going to do a triple 3-step zigzag. All right, so I have fused this much more seriously than last time. Let me just refuse this side. And then, like I said, I'm going to rewash it and redry it and see if it stays better now that I've fused it at a higher temperature. And, oops, that got screwed up. Hold on. A higher temperature, and I fused it on both sides because that's what they recommend from Bra Builders. And again, I did put the link to Bra Builders in the description if you'd like to get some of this elastic. I think ultimately it's going to work out. So I'm just going to fuse that, and then I'm going to do that, and then we'll flip it over. And then after I finish this, what we're going to do is we're going to shift over to my shorts project. I've been wearing skirts every day, and I'd like some options. Like I'd like some shorts options. I mean, I do have my organic cotton leaf, blue and white leaf print that I made. that are, you know, my pull-on shorts. So I do have one pair of knit shorts that I wear, but I'd like some easy breezy linen shorts. That's what I would like. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do about that. And I'm just going to fuse this side. So again, I know you guys are probably thinking to yourself, this is like watching paint dry. But I'm almost done. I literally just want to fuse it really well one more time, and then we will move on. And like I said, I'm going to wash it and dry it again and see what happens. All right, so now that this side is completely cool, I just want to show you that it still really stretches. Like, see, I can really stretch the daylights out of it, and after I stretch it, it stays fused, right? So again, I'm going to rewash and dry this, and we'll see what happens. So stay tuned for that next week. Okay, Mary is saying something. Speaking of shorts, remember the denim fabric no one wanted at the end of our pants class? I just sent a group picture of the denim shorts I finished out of that fabric. So Mary, you put it in the our Facebook group? Because if you did, I'm gonna go look at them. That's so cool that you use that extra fabric to make shorts. Okay. All right, so now let's look at this, and let me make it a little bigger and a little less bright now that we're lighter. Okay, so this is the pattern I am working with. This is my Shorts for Everybody pattern. It has two different crotch options. It has a low behind and an average behind. So like if you have a low behind, you can start with that. It makes easy fitting. And really and truly, I consider shorts to be pants fitting light, because if you don't have to extend the fabric past your knee, a lot of times it's much easier to get a quick and easy result. Now I'm going to fit these using my separate pants fitting waistband, and I'm going to be, I'm going to be, doing the same process and the same pattern prep as I would for pants, but I just wanted to show you the pattern. I did put a link in the description below for this if anybody's interested. And now let me look and show you what I have prepped here. Make this really light, darker, so you can see. All right, so what I did was I made a copy of my pattern, okay, and I have not worn these, or like I have not made a pair of these shorts since probably I don't know. It's been a couple years, so I know I've changed shape. So I want to test what's going to be happening with the fit of this before I cut out my fabric. And I want to make a wider leg. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do all of that on this pattern. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to cut it right out of my linen fabric, because I'm fairly certain that because this used to fit me and I'm going to add some allowances, it'll be pretty safe for me to then go ahead and, not have to make an actual muslin first. But I'm going to use a different color here. So right out of the gate, I'm going to add an inch to the top of my waistline. Okay, so I'm adding 1 inch there. And I'm also going to add 1 inch. Oh, actually, before I do anything else, let me just show you down here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to straighten out. So you can see I've got a slight hip curve here. I'm pretty straight. Oh, hi, Diane. Welcome. I'm adjusting my shorts pattern and prepping it so I can test fit it. I'm going to go ahead and, now this is the approximate knee. In the front, I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/2 inch to the width of the pattern on both sides, because I want to make this a little bit swishier, because again, I'm using linen. So I'm just extending my hem out a 1/2 inch on both sides here. And then I'm going to use my French curve to sort of fill in this hollow right here. like this. So see, what I'm doing is I'm kind of reshaping my inseam and I'm filling it in a little bit. Okay, so I've added all of this extra, and I'm going to do the same thing on the side seam. And I'm literally going to just, you know, connect it to the fullest hip up here. Okay, so you can see I'm just adding that little bit here and here. This is in the front. Okay, now on the back leg, I'm going to do the same thing, except in the back I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch, because I can add more because it's got a longer crotch extension and there's a bigger hip curve. So see how I'm just sort of making this straight, see, from the full hip, making this a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, and then over here, I'm gonna extend it 3/4. Because again, you always want to consider the fabric you're going to be working with. So I'm going to be working with linen, so I really want it to be, you know, a little bit swishy. So again, I'm going to add 3/4 over here. And I'll go ahead and fill that in as well. You know, something like this. I'm looking for the spot on the ruler that gives me a nice shape. Something like that. So you can see I've added a whole bunch of ease in here. Now the beauty is I can take this in if I don't need it all, but I just wanted to create some swish. Hey Vicki and Rose, welcome, welcome. Vicki says, I need Bermuda length just above the knee shorts. That's what I'm making. These go right down to my knee, like to the top of my knee. I love that length because I never feel like I have to pull them down or worry about them being too short. All right, so I'm adding all of that. All right, so that takes care of the style change. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do for the front pocket. I'm just not sure yet. Like maybe I will only put patch pockets in the back. I never use front pockets. So my guess is I think I'm just going to do some patch pockets in the back. But for now, I'm going to add my allowances. So I added the extra that I wanted there. Let me bring in my front. Oh, and the other thing is, because my legs and my full hip and my tummy are almost the same measurement, I'm going to get rid of the front fly. So these are going to be pull on. So let me go ahead and get rid of that so I don't forget. So I'm going to be cutting this off. Okay, so no front fly. All right, so then what I'm going to do is on the side seam here, I am going to add 1 inch to my side seam for a fitting allowance. However, I'm also going to straighten out the side seam above the full hip because I might need that to get into them. So I'm adding this little wedge right here. I'm adding that into the pattern, and then I'm going to give myself 1 inch. Now, if this is a new to you pattern, like you haven't sewn this up for yourself yet, I would add more than 1 inch for safety fitting allowances, just in case. But since I've already made these a few times, I know that 1 inch will be plenty. Oops. And then, of course, I ran out of paper down here, so I'm going to have to just, let me cut a little piece where I can. I just need a little piece to put there. Doesn't need to be a big hairy thing, but let me just stick a little piece of paper right here. And actually, I just need a tiny little piece. All right. Okay, let me just put tape here. And then I'm just gonna continue my inch straight down. Okay. All right, so there's my finished inch. How do you keep the leg of shorts from crawling up on the fuller thigh? That's a good question. I think if your thigh is really full, it's constantly pulling on it, and when you sit, everything does rotate to the back. So maybe letting it out a little bit and give your body room inside the shorts to move and bend when you sit. Because when you sit, everything in the back gets longer and everything shifts to the back. And that's why it feels like it's crawling up. But if you give yourself a little bit more ease in the full thigh area, then your body can move separate from the fabric. I think that might help. All right, so I'm gonna also add, actually, I'm not gonna add, normally I would add to my inseam extra allowance. I'm not gonna do that in this case because I know that this is gonna be long enough. Like, I've lost weight since I've made these shorts, so I don't think I'm gonna need to extend my crotch, so I'm just not gonna do that for this one. But again, if you have a new pattern you're working with for the first time, I would go ahead and add it. And I'm just going to show you how I would add it since I'm, showing this stuff. I would go out like, I don't know, an inch extra, right? And then just add that inch like this. And I'm going to cut mine off, but I just want to show you that this is how you would do it if you were going to add. And then you could fit that when you're working with the single leg, and then once you're sure it fits, then you could cut it back off before you add your second leg. But that's how you would add an inch fitting allowance on your inseam. And Vicki, this could help you if you're making your shorts and you make a muslin and you have extra here and it's crawling up, you can let it out here a little bit too, and that might help ease it up. So that's how I'm going to prep my front. And let me just cut it out. Like this. Okay, remember, I'm not going to do the zipper, so I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, Shelly's saying sometimes shorts like to crawl up the inner thigh as you walk too. Yeah, it can. It can totally crawl around. If you feel like the fabric is, and actually I can speak to that because my daughter and I did what's called a step bet, where we had to walk so many steps every day for 5 weeks. And so we did a lot of walking together. And when she was walking in front of me and she had on some, knit legging kind of shorts, they would crawl up between her legs if they were too loose. So it also depends on the kind of shorts you're making. If you're making shorts that should be snug, having them be loose, like knit shorts, that can cause them to catch on your inner thighs and crawl up, because that's what happened with my daughter. And what I did was I sewed deeper, through the inseam, making the crotch shorter, and then back down the other leg, and that fixed it. So I know if you have knit shorts that are crawling up, and they should be more like a legging, making them snugger can fix that. So I know that will work. But if your inner thighs rub, and you're walking, and just that motion of them rubbing together can cause the fabric to pull up. You have to kind of feel for, if you have enough ease. If it's a woven pattern, it might be that it's too tight and it's loose down here, but it's just tight up in here. That can cause it to try to crawl up, especially when you bend and walk. The back of you gets longer. So I guess it could be a too loose problem or a too tight problem that you're dealing with. But I think if you have this, where you can let it out when you're fitting with your single leg, you know, you could let that out. Again, I'm going to cut mine off because I'm not going to use it, but I just wanted to show you how to add it. So if anybody has shorts and they're crawling up, definitely send me pictures of what's happening and send me pictures of your pattern pieces, because maybe I can better diagnose what's happening. And if you send me pictures like over the weekend of you in your shorts, front, back, and side, and also the pattern pieces, then next week I can get together with you during Fab Fit Friday and we can talk about, you know, some of the issues. So if Vicki and Shelly want to share photos, or if anybody else does, please feel free, you know, because then we can talk about it next week. And I will show you how these fit next week as well. Notice I'm using my cool tool, my little scrap bin. I'm trying to stay neat in here. Oh, if you guys missed it, if you missed Cool Tools this week, I'm so excited. I'm literally going to stop and show you here. Well, look at this. Let me see if I can, I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to lift up the camera. Look at my beautiful, wait a minute, I got to make more light. Look at my beautiful pattern hanging system I have going on now. I am in love with this. So what that is it's a Sew Tights, let me just tighten this. I'm going to show you. Hold on. Oops, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just tighten this for a second. Okay. So watch what I can do. So see, here's my shorts for everybody pattern. I stuck it there. If I want to take it off, I just slide the magnet, oops, and it comes off. But I can keep all of my stuff here really nicely. So like this is my, that's my, my tee pattern. My tank top is right here. And then I've got my shorts. This is the dress I worked on for Easter. These are all my leggings and my sport pattern. So everything I would sew for the summer, I've left right here. And it's really easy to find, and it's really easy to just put it back on. And if I can show you, let me take this off. So if I take this off, you can see all it is a metal bar and these 4-inch magnets. They're very nice to work with. So if anybody missed that and you want an easy way to store your patterns, I am in love with this. All right, let me stick this back over here and let me put this back down. All right, I have 2 sets of those Sew Tights. It's their quilt hanging system, and I have it on 2 walls. I'm thinking of getting another one actually because I love it. I'm so excited about it. All right, let me see. I can get back to this now. All right, so I'm going to make the same changes to this pattern. So I'm going to, not changes, I'm going to add the same allowances. So I'm going to add 1 inch above the waistline. And then on my side seam, I am going to, can you guys see? Oh, I feel like that's a little bit too dark. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so for the side seam, again, I'm going to come straight up. I'm going to fill in that little hip curve like that. So see how I fill this in? And then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 inch all the way down. Like this. Okay, so that preps my back leg. All right, so now I've got my legs ready to go. Very excited about that. Okay, I'm going to cut this out. Okay. Okay, so now I want to show you one other thing that can happen when you're making copies of patterns and you're changing things and you're tracing. All right, so see how down here, see how this is the line for my hem is right here. Okay, I'm just going to darken it so you can see it. All right, that's my hem. And see how there's that little tidbit of fabric left over? Can everybody see that? Now, the reason why I'm pointing that out to you is because a lot of times I've seen students in my classes forget to trim that little piece off. And then when they go to sew their side seam and inseams together, one leg is longer than the other one. So it's really important just to make sure when you're cutting your patterns out to then make a fit muslin that you take advantage of, or you take off all these little scraps, because that could make a mess, and then you won't understand why your why your one leg is longer than the other. All right, so I've got these all done. I'm just going to do one other thing. I always like to double check my inseams. I did change a little bit because I filled them in, so I'm going to start at the knee. And I'm going to walk it up and make sure it still matches. And I can see that if I walk it up from the bottom to the top, my front inseam is a little bit longer than my back. I'm just going to make a note. Oh, I'm sorry, where that is. So it's about that much too long. So I'm going to just make that mark, and I'm going to go like this. Sort of match those up. And I think what I'm going to do is, and so that's how they would technically match. I think I'm going to let me get a little piece of paper. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the back. With a scrap. And before I do that, I'm going to read what Vicki is saying here. Vicki says, I alleviated it so far by taking in the legs on purchased shorts to make them narrower towards the hem. I think I've taken in one pair 2 or 3 times. Yeah, see, sometimes it is the extra along the inseam that makes them grab. Because like I said, when I was watching my daughter walk in hers, it's almost like her hems went up like this on the inseams because it was pulling, through the crotch on her knit short. So that does make sense. Oh, Mary, you have to run? You can watch the replay. Yay. I just have a little bit more to do today. I'm going to share the fabric that I'm going to work with this in a minute. Now, the reason why I'm not going to trim this off to make it even. Oh, can you see the pink? Let me make a darker color here. Hold on. So this is where it matches, where this green line is. Okay. And I could, just do this and trim it off. I could do that. But I'm not sure that I might need that little bit. So instead, I'm going to make this higher. Ooh, Rose Gold is asking, I thought we walked the seams from the crotch down. No. What you want to do, and I don't have a full, this is not a full leg. Let me see if I have this fuller. Okay, let me show you on this. Okay, let me finish this first, and I want to explain something. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some paper right in here like this, and I really just need a little bit like this. Okay, I'm going to tape it on like this. Okay, and then I'm going to extend the back so it's equal to the front. Hey, Danny, first time on a live. Yay. Well, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm literally just going to blend that in to here like this. So I'm literally just going to add this little bit, this little wedge in. And the reason why I'm adding the wedge in versus cutting off the other one is because I can trim that off if I don't need it. If I trim this off to make it match, I might shorten my inseams and be sad. So basically, I'm just going to add that in. It's only a 1/4 inch. It's not a big deal. When I'm working with looser fitting pants or shorts, I like my inseams to match. On snug jeans, I like my front to be a little bit longer, and then I stretch the back to fit. So again, if this had been jeans and the front was that much longer, I would have left it and I would have stretched from the knee to the crotch to make it fit in there. All right, so that's all set now. So I'm going to cut these out of fabric. And before I show you the fabric, let me just show you one more thing here. Let's pretend this is a full-length pant. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put, I'm going to measure my knee. Let's make the knee line, let's say the knee is 3 inches from this hem, let's just say. All right, so here's my knee. Okay, and then I'm going to make a like knee line over here. Okay. Okay, so when you are checking your side and inseams to see if they match, you always start here. You start at the knee line and you go up to the crotch and you go down to the hem. Okay, you don't start up here and go down, and you don't start up here and go up, or down here and go up. The reason why is because from the knee down, it should be 1-to-1. So I would put these, you know, back to back with each other like this. Let me just cut this little tape off here. Okay, so I would line it up like this and make sure from the knee down matched. And then you go from the knee up, and you can see here it doesn't match, right? So see how when I go from the knee up, the back is shorter than the front again. So see, if I put them side by side now, you can see that the front is about a 1/4 inch longer. So what happens is if you measure, let's say you measure from the crotch and go all the way down to the bottom and then realize that your leg is too short down here, okay, and you shorten it at the hem, what could happen is it could cause your leg to twist, because what you're doing is you're literally pulling down, you're mismatching where it needs to join. So you don't want to push all the extra to the bottom, and you don't want to push all the extra to the top. You want to make sure that whatever's above the knee gets fixed and whatever's below the knee gets fixed. And if you start here and go all the way down to the hem, you're crossing over the line. So think of the knee line as your horizontal balance line for walking your side and inseam. You would do the same thing for the side seam. You would start here, you know, and walk it down to make sure this matches. And then you would walk it up to make sure this matched. And actually this isn't matching either. You can see here, my side seam is a little bit longer in the front. Okay, so in that case, what I would do is I would literally just trim it off like this. So I could either trim this off, or I could add fabric here and lengthen it like I did with my pattern. So that's how you true up your side and inseams. You always start at the knee. So start here. All right, and then you walk it up and down. Okay, and that's how you can be sure that you're getting the right, you know, you're fixing the right part of the pattern. Because again, remember, sometimes some patterns are designed for the front to be a little bit longer from crotch to knee. Like my stretch jeans are a little bit longer here, but you pin it at the knee and you stretch this part of the back to match. All right, Vicky's asking how to establish the knee line. So if your pattern does not have a knee line, you can either measure up from your ankle to your knee and then measure that far from the hem up to your knee, or you can measure from your, from your inseam crotch intersection on a pair of leggings, measure down to your knee and mark it. The one thing that you have to make sure of is wherever you mark the front or the back, make sure it's the same. So if you, let's say you end up being, I don't know, 16 inches from the hem in the back, make sure you're 16 inches from the hem in the front, and then just start there and go up and down. Rose Gold says, that makes sense. Sewing is so tedious, LOL. There's a lot of things to think about. There are a lot of things to think about. I do agree with you there. But in the end, we end up with something that we love. So let me show you the fabric that I'm going to cut these out of. I'll be right back. I didn't get it out of my closet, but it is nice and organized so I can get it. Okay, let me see. I have some choices. I'm either going to make them out of this, or All right, I'm bringing over a few different fabrics. I want to talk about some of these fabrics. This fabric is the one I think I'm going to use for my first pair. I bought this from Metro Textiles, and you know how like you go shopping at a fabric store and they'll drape fabric on a mannequin outside the store? Well, this fabric was draped on a dress form outside the store, and it's a really busy, it isn't a color, but it's a busy print, and this will balance my shape. I have a G-cup top, and a lot of times if I'm wearing like a black tank top or a black t-shirt and then I wear something also slenderizing on the bottom, I look like a pencil on a stick because my bust is huge and then my legs look skinnier. So something like this is going to make my bottom look a little fuller because it's a busy pattern. So I think I'm going to make these into shorts. I probably have enough to make shorts and maybe a bias tank top. I was going to make a dress out of this, and then I just decided I think it's too busy. So I'm not going to use it for a dress. But anyway, I think I'm going to make my first pair of shorts out of this. It's kind of a lightweight. I don't know. I might think about something in the back that I can do to make the pocket bags for or something with the pockets in the back. Some sort of lining, I don't know, something. I'm trying to think, like if I did a welt pocket, let's say, I could make the pocket bag line the whole back of the shorts. So it's not see-through, but I will see. But you can see, I guess I really can't. I can see through it a little bit, but it's not like obnoxiously see-through. But anyway, so that might be a pair of shorts. Then I have this heavier weight, like a bottom weight red that I love. And this is cross woven, so it looks shimmery. Let me lighten this up so you can see. This could be a dress. I love this color and I love this weight. But it looks like it shimmers because it's cross woven with these sort of beigey tan threads on one side and red on the other. So that's another option that might become shorts, or maybe this will be a dress. And then I've got this. I love this. This is so soft. I think the white threads are cotton and the blue threads are linen. Oh, wait a minute. Look it. I used my Kylie and the Machine. Okay, I get a gold star. This is 100% linen from Metro Textiles. And I have pull-on pants as a note. It's already pre-washed. So I shared these during one of my cool tools. I love these Kylie in the Machine stickers. Let's see, now that this has been in my closet since 2023, so it's been in my closet for 2 years already. Let's see if the label comes right off. Oh, it does. And just for a spoiler alert, there's no sticky on there. So if anyone was wondering about the Kylie and the Machines fabric labels, they pull off, and this has been on for 2 years, and they don't damage your fabric, because I know that was a question that came up when I was doing the school tool. All right, and then I want to talk about this fabric, because this fabric is what I cut the bias dress that I have on my dress form behind me on. And you have to be careful. This was described to me as Italian linen. It's beautiful, but there is some wool in it. So every time I wash this, my garment gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I don't know what I'm going to use to make the rest of this out of, but now that I'm feeling it, if I had been more careful in the beginning, I would have felt the fact that it feels a little itchy. You know, it's got some wool in it. But I do love this fabric. I mean, maybe that could be a pair of line shorts, maybe, I don't know. But I would have to dry clean them or just hand wash them in cold to be careful, because I've stretched the daylight. I mean, I had to stretch my dress back into shape because I kept shrinking it. Anyway, so those are the fabrics I'm thinking about. And now let me, oh, Vicki is saying make pocket bags from flesh colored fabrics. I might do something like that. Oh, Shelly's voting the linen. Shelly, which color do you like the best? What's your favorite? All right, I'm just going to slide this back up so I can lower it, and then also get it out of my face so I can talk to you guys again. Okay, here we go. All right, I feel really silly. I'm literally, let me see if I can push this back a little bit so it's not in my face. So I feel like I'm looking at this giant camera. I'm going to lower it a little bit. There we go. All right, so I mean, this is working, that I can use my big camera as my face camera and also as my table camera, but I am going to have to figure out what's going on with my little Logitech. I hope it didn't break. But anyway, so, oh, Shelly likes the blue denim-y one. This is one of my favorite fabrics. I love this one too. This, but see, I think I bought 2 yards of this. So like I could make 2 things out of it if I don't make it into, if I do make shorts, I will have enough to make something else. This is very nice. It's soft and it's comfortable. These will make nice shorts. This would also make a nice dress. I am gonna revisit my bias 3 seam pattern, which I did a couple years now. Remember this pattern right here? So the only seams in this are, this seam twists all the way around and then all the way to the back, center back. So it's all one piece. And then there's 2 shoulder seams. That's all there is on this. So this could be another, another option for some of those linens to make this dress. But I might not have enough, because bias takes a lot of yardage. But anyway, so this has been really fun. I'm gonna get to work. After I get off, I'm gonna cut out my shorts out of I'm gonna do the floral print first, because it's one of those fabrics that after I bought it, I realized I don't know if I love it. And I don't love it for the dress that I thought I was going to make out of it. I just think it'll be, I don't know, a lot if I make a long dress out of it. So I am going to cut shorts out of the white and black floral first, and then I could maybe do the blue linen. So I'll have a couple pairs of new shorts. I'm really excited. This pattern that I'm working with has also a vent in the, so if you look at the, oh wait a minute, so see there's a little button vent Let me just make it so you can see. Okay, so see how there's like a little 3-button vent there? I'm not going to put that in these, but that is an option for in these shorts if you want to do a little vent at the bottom of your hem, you know, on the side seam. So, but these are just going to be down and dirty, easy peasy pull on shorts. And I have the elastic that has the drawstring built into it, and I'm going to use that for the waistband. So I'll show you that, you know, next week. My guess is I'm gung-ho. I want to make these and maybe they'll be finished by next Friday, but chances are I'll be finishing them next Friday, so you can, you know, join me to see how that's going. And then also remember, if any of you live in the UK and you'd like to help me out with that single-sided fusible elastic, I'd be really excited about that. Or if anybody in the United States knows where they can find a single-sided fusible elastic, please let me know. So that's my fun for today. I'm just busy working on things. I just want to thank everybody who has joined me for the J Stern Designs YouTube Insider Club. There is a link in the description below if you haven't heard of that yet. I'm finding that people who have joined are really enjoying the accessibility, or the access to all of my content via QR codes or bit.ly links, and it's all organized by topic and downloadable. So if anybody's interested in learning more about the J Stern Designs YouTube Insider Club, there's a description below for that as well. And we'll be having our next live meetup the last Sunday of this month at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be updating the catalog with all of my June content. Will be released then too. So it is updated. It's updatable. So I'm very excited. But anyway, so I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel crooked now. I'm sorry because I'm on this jib and I'm on my big camera. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice weekend. And I will see you next week with more shorts and the second wash test for the fusible elastic. Hopefully it'll stick this time now that I really fused it hard. All right. So thank you for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a nice weekend. Bye.